everybody. My name is Marcos.
And I'm Kaylee.
And welcome back to another season of Reynolds Review, Senior Year Edition. Yep, you heard us correctly. We are both graduating this year, hopefully. So we do have to apologize for having a little bit of a late start in the year.
Mr. Great died.
No, our teacher, who is now behind the camera, alive and well, just couldn't help but fall out of a tree.
Yeah, I hear he drinks.
No.
First, we will take a look at the very successful Cost Cancer campaign we had this year at Reynolds.
And then we will be heading downstairs and take a look at the Flexible Studies program.
But it's not easy. It is hard to raise money. It's hard to raise $100. It doesn't just happen. It requires a lot of hard work, and it requires a lot of commitment by a lot of dedicated people. I'd like to introduce staff members who are shaking their head right now. So if you're shaking their head this year, could you please come to the front? Come join us to be our staff members shaking their head this year. Every year we have at least one female staff member who decides that they're going to come with us on this journey and take a real significant risk. Some have done it multiple times. Please welcome Ms. Courtney Campbell. Ms. Campbell is shaking her head for the second time, showing ridiculous commitment and role modeling. Thank you very much, Ms. Campbell. No one writes us a check for 20 grand. We do this one toonie at a time at an assembly. 50 cents at a time for a cookie. We do this $5 and $10 at a time for a car being washed. This is a united effort, and we chip away, and by the end, we do amazing things.
Well, the 2017 Cops for Cancer campaign was our first ever without Dean Norris-Jones, who led us for many, many years. And those were very, very big shoes to fill, but I made a conscious decision to say that this is a part of our school. It's bigger than one person, and so we decided that we just need to carry on and make this tradition something that we carry on, and it doesn't end with one person. So that was a really important thing for me. And it's always very fun to see new students come up with all sorts of creative new things. So for the last 2 years, we've done a car smash. This year we had a pie the teacher event. And then you've always got the miscellaneous, just random things that come up, that kids come up, you know, everything from a bake sale, which is pretty standard, but there's some pretty creative ideas that kids come up with as well. You know, sitting in front of a grocery store with a bucket and asking for donations as well. So very, very proud of the effort of this entire school with how we came together and did something that really made a big difference for our community.
we always like to show the riders first, and then we will show the crowd the fruits of our labor.
So the current model of the flexible studies program and the English junior option is that we combine English, socials, science, independent directed study, environment sustainability, and planning 10 in a program where grade 9s and 10s take it together all afternoon, all year. And because it's a mixed cohort, they do it over 2 years. During this time, they get all those credits and meet all the learning objectives for those courses, but they do so in an integrated way, also in a community-based way, where we're in the community working with our partners at the Royal BC Museum. We work with the Songhees First Nation, we work with the Parliamentary Education Office, and companies around town, District of Saanich, Natural Pod, a number of different organizations that are supporting our students as they're engaged in learning and completing different curricular objectives. For one of the most important parts of Flex is that we felt that we wanted to push back the walls of the school, and we felt that our students would learn best in and from and with our community. So we just started asking people and saying yes. Whenever somebody said, hey, do you have any students that might be interested in this? We would say, yeah, absolutely, let's ask them. The neat thing about the way that the program is organized, by having 3 teachers and up to about 55 kids, we are able to break them into smaller groups. So not everyone has to go somewhere all at once. The other thing is that we're not taking kids away from other classes. If we want students to be able to go work at Fletchess, which is Songhees Island off of Willows Beach, we can send them for an afternoon without disrupting their other classes. Similarly, if we want to take everyone and go to the museum and work on a project with the Royal BC Museum, we just take them and we can go multiple times a week or multiple times a month or what have you. We're not constricted by the bell schedule as much as a traditionally scheduled class might be. So this opportunity to change and be flexible with our schedule really allowed us to engage deeply with our community partners and give our students opportunities to learn from and then contribute to the community that they live in.
So what I remember from Flex is just being able to have project dates flexible, hence the name, but we were able to have a project that we wanted, and then based on our idea or what we thought the project should be about, we would set a time that it should be done by this, and then that allows us to just get together all of our resources and put it together.
So our museum project had a lot to do with truth and reconciliation, so we had the opportunity to work with a Songhees elder and go to the Discovery Island and all the Songhees Islands, and to rid these fruit orchards of invasive species. So I think the best part about the experience is that they're not really memories anymore, because they are such a living part of my life. They are still like a huge part of my life. Those experiences and those connections that I've made are still very alive and well today.
Yeah, like we were really just like enveloped in like the actual community of Victoria, because we got to spend a lot of time down at the Royal BC Museum at like very frequently at one point, and we got to meet a lot of really cool people. Like for example, Sahluma, she helped us with our project, with our inquiry project, and like we were just really kind of like in like the community.
Yeah,
like, we got to learn a lot.
We got to learn a lot. We got to talk a lot, and we got to hear our project was really based around a lot of stories. So we got to learn about a lot of people's lives. Sahluma really helped us to talk about residential schools and Indian hospitals, and just the state of living for First Nations people, and how we can incorporate the very the natural aspect of all of that, and how we can take that into our everyday lives. And that was a really unique part of our project, because we got to experience nature in a way that we wouldn't be able to during school.
We're often asked, who does Flex work best for? And really the answer is for anyone who really wants to engage deeply with their learning. We have students for whom school comes easily, sometimes too easily, so they want a bit more of a challenge. So Flex can provide that. For others, they need more support and maybe need longer to complete a project, and Flex is also there to support them. We really want to honor each student's learning style and help them progress at the pace to the place that they want to get to. So in that way, Flex is it's great for anyone who really desires to do more engaged learning with certain topics that they're interested in. Kids don't have to come to Flex with a passion, as it were, but we want them to come with curiosity and wonder and openness to trying new things. Last year, Flex was recognized by the Canadian Education Association as an honorable mention, the Ken Spencer Award for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. So it's a really humbling award that we got, and it kind of speaks to how Flex is beginning to engage with the redesigned BC curriculum. And we're being recognized obviously by the Canadian Education Association. We've also had TruVic students, so these are teachers in training at the University of Victoria. They come through our program and see how we are adapting the new curriculum in our school, in our personal environment here with our students, and then hopefully providing a model where this could be used in other places, but we don't want them just to take what we're doing and plop it down where they are. Really just the idea that if you can get an engaged group of educators, an engaged group of kids, and supportive administration and staff, that you can recreate what school looks like for a group of students within a public school institution. We often have this thought that high school is very rigid and we can never change it, but hopefully Flex is providing a model whereby we can demonstrate that what happens in the school can be co-created with the staff in the school and the students in the school and the community in which they live in.
So I have to ask you about this tree. What can you tell us about the tree?
It's a really interesting project that came about with a teacher and artist in the community. Her name's Mary Spesh. And what we found was that because Flex is not a traditional learning environment whereby students learn something, have a test, have a list of grades and an average at the end, some of our students were concerned that they weren't what they were learning. And like, oh, sometimes they get like, we didn't learn anything. But what we wanted to do was to create a visual metaphor of their learning and the connections in their learning. So this tree was constructed with Marie and our students and represents obviously the metaphorical tree of knowledge, but each of the branches represented one of the inquiry areas from last year. So on the left, there are barnacles on that, which represented one of our inquiry areas of oceans and climate change. The middle, you can see an apple hanging, and that represents food security and sustainability. And there are some crows, which I think were hopefully representing ravens, although we couldn't bring a stuffed raven in, representing kind of our connection to our indigenous people and the land on which we live. We had leaves on it representing what we learned from each of those areas, but you know, in the fall, the leaves fall, and so those leaves fell, and in the spring, we will have new leaves, and that would connect to our new areas of inquiry this year. So it's kind of a visual reminder of that everything we learn is integrated and can be demonstrated visually, not just in a bunch of numbers in a line.
So Principal Buck's Advisory does a lot of cool things around the school. They take charge on our Remembrance Day Assembly and our Christmas Assembly. To me, the Remembrance Day is the most special just because it's such a neat experience and we get to organize basically the whole thing.
Representing peace, diversity, and freedom. True north, strong, and free, we are united as one. Today, we take the time to honor those who have helped to create and maintain this within our country during the past, present, and future.
So the Remembrance Day Assembly at Reynolds is a really special event. It has been for every year that I've been here, and it's organized by our Principal Advisory, and so students have a voice and are really showcased in it throughout the entire event. And I know it's really valued by our student population because it is the assembly that every student attends and is very solemn in nature, and everyone is extremely respectful. And one of the reasons I think that is because it's told from the perspective of our current students, but with a historical perspective. So we have a staff member from the socials department who will share some history. We have our choir performing, we have our band performing, we have our dance troupe performing. And I think it's really powerful to see and hear from our students about the history and the importance of the event. And I know that newcomers to Canada are always, when I speak to them after the assembly, they're always really impressed, but also it's a new learning piece for them, and I think we have that in mind as we go through it, and I think that's really important. And as a community, it really does solidify the value system that we try to embody in the school.
Motivated by patriotism and duty, over 600,000 Canadians enlisted in World War I. 1/10 of these soldiers did not return home.
People stood by when people then, there are people standing tall today because brave individuals in years gone by turned their words into actions. So, where do you stand?
This was my first time seeing an assembly, and yeah, of course I was nervous. I was running over my script a couple times, like at home with my mom, and I was honored. I got to speak both in French and English, which was amazing for me to do in front of the school. So I was really privileged to be chosen to do that.
Never seen this kind of love. The kind that won't slip away. It's what dreams are made of.
They settle the theories that I bet you got a boyfriend that I don't care. I got no one to send a letter to.
All right, the senior boys soccer team this year, a great group of guys. We had a really talented group of grade 12s returning from last year. And we also had a really good group of grade 11s come into the team. It settled in really nicely.
My name is Mateo and I play striker.
My name is Cameron. I play as a goalkeeper. The season went really well. Building off the success from last year, we had a good group of guys that came back. It was good to get everyone out again, some new faces as well. And the grade 11s were definitely very helpful to our success. And overall, definitely a good one. One to remember for sure.
So one of the biggest challenges of winning any sort of title is the next year when everyone knows about you. You're not a secret anymore. And therefore, everyone brings their best efforts. They say, oh, we're playing the provincial champs, former winners of the Colonist Cup, Island champions. And so everything gets just a little bit tougher. And we talked to the boys about that and saying that we're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. They all know who we are.
Went undefeated throughout the season, which is excellent. Against some tough teams, had a really good match against Oak Bay in the league play. Came up victorious in that one in a real tight game, and qualified for the qualified for the Islands, in which the guys performed really well. Had an outstanding game against Royal Bay in the Islands, and some great goals, fabulous goals in that game, some of the best I've seen.
As far as our highlights this year, we were Island champions, which is a really big deal. We won a great game against Oak Bay on their home turf in front of their home crowd, which is always, it's difficult to do in certain situations. And when we won the Islands, it gave us a great shot at provincials because now we get the #1 seed going into the provincials with #1 Island seed. And we managed to go undefeated in pool play, but so did Fleetwood Park, another team in our pool. And so we had to win a shootout, which was very exciting, just to get out of our pool.
We went into provincials this year with the hopes of bringing back the banner again for the second year in a row. Didn't quite turn out as planned. We ended up finishing third, which is still extremely good. I think we're all very proud of ourselves and very happy with that.
One of the things that I'm really proud of with this group was they had that expectation for themselves to do really well. We ended up winning a provincial bronze medal, and after the game, you would have thought that we had just lost the 16th place game. And that was not external pressure from anyone. It was the boys having those high expectations, knowing that they were very, very close.
Overall, a great group of guys represented the school really well. A real nice group, hardworking group, talented group. Couldn't ask for much more, to be honest with you.
I definitely want to include soccer as a part of my life for the rest of my life, hopefully, in one way or another. I'm definitely going to pursue a career in refereeing. Not entirely sure where I'm going to end up as a player, but it's definitely going to be a massive part of my life for the rest of my life going forward.
Next year I am going to Vic to play for the Vikes and see where it goes on from there, hopefully to make it further in my playing. And yeah, come watch me score, bang some goals for the Vikes. I think for us seniors it's a good sending off the way we finished with third, and we'd really like to thank JJ and CMAC for all the time that they've put into the team, and especially for me who isn't able to play on the actual team because I'm out of catchment. Them bringing me onto the squad for the past 2 years has really been a high for me in my soccer career at Reynolds.
They've definitely influenced a lot of the boys, and for sure they've made a difference in a lot of our lives and our careers. And their experience and everything they had to offer was definitely invaluable over these last 2 years as a senior player.
Go Roadrunners.
#1 dad, CMAC.
Thanks for taking us in.
So that is all for now, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Marcos.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we will see you next time.
Because we are hungry and we're going to go get some food.
I'm hungry.
Bye!